All right, guys. What's going on? Welcome to Metagame, the gaming and media podcast from SpawnCampCouncil, the think tank that takes content to the highest tier of excellence. Tonight, we're giving you the hottest information on the latest game, so boot up, log in, and enjoy the show. This week, Green Lantern on HBO, Xbox goes mobile, Fortnite, Fallout 76's Civil War, and Death Stranding for Windows. We weren't talking about any of that crap tonight, guys. Tonight, I'm your host, Adam 212, with our co-hosts, SolidScorpionZ, Sectator, Kingdawes, and the bot that puts Bender in a safe mode. Welcome to our new co-host, OldDirtyRobot.
Hooray, welcome.
Hooray. Yeah. Welcome. All right, tonight, guys, let's get started. I want to talk a little bit about EA. It turns out that EA announced that they'll be returning to... Yeah, let's everybody get a big collective boo for EA. Yeah, very nice. Boo indeed. They announced that they were returning to Steam. They're going to put their games on Steam again. How about that? For reference, Steam has a 70-30 revenue split, right, versus the 88-12 that Origin Store uses. They canned the NBA Live franchise. The next Battlefield game has been pushed till 2021 or 2022. We're not sure yet. This now after abandoning the entire roadmap for Anthem. All of this after one of the highest earning years at EA because their microtransaction actions that they got, fucking like taken out to the shed for by the public. With what was it, Battlefront, the Star Wars thing that they had a problem with.
Yeah, they started with that.
Yeah, so we've reported this about Activision and Blizzard in recent podcasts. This reminds me of our very first podcast that we had, guys, with Metagame, where we had the outlook right after Battlefront had dropped for what was coming in gaming. What was that, 2018?
A while ago.
2019? Yeah, the year beginning 2019.
Yeah.
Where we kind of detailed the fall of AAA gaming overall, and that the public was getting mad about these microtransactions and everything else that went on, and after all these failures that they've done, that we've seen with Activision, we've seen with Blizzard, Destiny being an example, moving over to Steam, all of the crap that's gone on over at EA. Are we finally seeing the cracks in the shareholder gaming model coming to fruition like we talked about? What do you think?
Yeah, been saying it for a long time. AAA gaming is taking a shit on itself, and all these indie games, they're not going to become big AAA games, but I think they're just going to get bigger, and I think indie developers are going to be given finally more money to develop games.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think it depends. So I think there's a fine line in which consumers are willing to pay for extra content. So I right now I'm thinking of Call of Duty Modern Warfare. That game, everybody is saying, is phenomenal. So people are going to be willing to spend a little bit of money in microtransactions for cosmetics, season passes, DLC, stuff like that, because they're very entertained with the game. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a threshold there where they're paying researchers and third parties millions of dollars to find what that threshold is. So I think it depends on if we can continue to see people put out good content that's equal or on par with the amount of DLC they're charging microtransactions. I think that'll say a lot about the industry. But for now, it's going to be hit or miss like it has been the last 2 or 3 years.
Well, and every time they fail, too, they just learn from that mistake. And they're like, well, I guess we can't go that far. So we'll just pull it back 5% to this next game. Because they have the money to blow. I mean...
Oh, for sure.
Especially like Activision. They don't give a fuck. Like they did this whole thing with Destiny for last 5-6 years. And now they've taken all the things that they've learned from that experience, and they can just feed that straight into every Call of Duty that they've been also doing the same thing with. Well, they went super far with the microtransactions, pay to win. Started with the Advanced Warfare. They literally had a gun that if you didn't have it, if you didn't pay to get the boxes and to get this gun, you were not as good as everyone else. Just straight up.
So, do you think the public is that naive to just keep buying their shit?
Yes, they are. They continue to make billions of dollars every year with this shit.
I mean, but it's getting less and less, though, right? I mean, we do agree that it's getting less and less, and these things are actual failures.
I don't think so, though. That's the problem. I think games keep making money.
You don't think Black Ops was a mistake this last game?
No, they made a fuck ton of money, dude. They still make money every day off of Blackout. Zombies. Like, Zombies has a whole microtransaction system. that I don't mind, but if you don't do it, you can't like beat the game. Basically, it's impossible to really do a lot of the Easter egg stuff without buying the perks for it. It's really, 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 really lame.
Yeah. King?
Kind of like what Sectator said, depending on the right game, I will invest more money than just the initial purchase. Like cosmetics, I'm a fan of. I hate the idea of a pay-to-win game, you know, having a gun that's more powerful because you spent money. And that's just facilitating bad behavior. But cosmetic-wise, of course you're going to want the cosmetics, but it has no effect on the actual gameplay. So cosmetic microtransactions I'm totally fine with, but actual in-game items, as in pay-to-win stuff, I'm totally against.
Robot, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the leash is kind of short with the public, and for the amount of money that you would invest in a title, and Anthem's a good example of that. So you kind of get to the point to where the public turns on the game, and they have to make a decision of whether or not to go forward. And when they decide to not do this, like in the case of Anthem, it betrays the trust to the public. And in EA's case, I think they're in a really difficult spot. They have two games like this that they've completely abandoned. Not just Anthem, Bioshock, not Bioshock.
Battlefield?
No, not Battlefield.
Well, they have abandoned Battlefield.
Yeah, there was another game that Mass Effect Andromeda. Yeah, they completely walked away from Mass Effect Andromeda. And in their case, I am far less likely to get invested in one of their properties. They're really going to have to show something. And I think, especially with a Star Wars game, it's no microtransactions. We're going to put it on Steam. They're trying to do all the good guy moves to win back public trust. But I think it's going to take more than that. I mean, personally, I like Star Wars games, but I'm willing to sit this one out. It's just a matter of principle.
I think
Okay.
it's way more lucrative for a company to bail on a game that's failing to create a successful game that they can milk with microtransactions. And that's why you're seeing that model EA is doing right now. Andromeda saw day one, it was dead. Between the server issues, the graphic interface issues, the story mode issues, it was dead. They bailed on that after 6 months. Same thing with Anthem. What they can do is they can release a new Call of Duty that's playing really well, that they spent 3 years developing, that they can just splatter microtransactions all over, and they'll recuperate their losses.
Well, that's Activision and Call of Duty, but we're talking about EA with Steam, though. I mean, EA moving over to Steam is not that model. Them moving over to Steam is them taking less money. Like they had left all that behind since 2012 or something like that.
Yeah, but with them coming over to Steam, they'll be able to move all their Battlefield shit over to Steam. So now they're going to bring their last Battlefield game, which was not successful at all. Like, it did not, like, nobody's playing that shit. No. And now they might get more people playing it because it's on Steam. Right. There's a lot of people that aren't playing Borderlands right now because it's not on Steam.
Right.
Like once the games go onto Steam, then they get played.
But you don't see that as corporate failure, though.
Because
they had their own web store. They had their own game store that they had all that stuff like locked in.
As EA, yeah, they're definitely in a corporate failure. But so was Ubisoft just years ago, and look at Nintendo just years ago. Like, they're going to keep trying to do stuff, you know?
Yeah, I think EA has a public image problem right now, though. And they've got to rehabilitate that. And right now, Steam has a good reputation. People like games on Steam. You know, people would prefer that Borderlands be on Steam.
Yeah.
It's everybody's shit on Epic, but EA is kind of in a similar boat. And I think by putting their single player game on Steam, it kind of sends the message that, hey, we're going to try to be players first. At least with one title to kind of sway public opinion. Because right now, there are people who don't buy EA products because of EA's history with microtransactions, with Battlefront, and abandoning two titles that people are really excited for. And you're right, Sectator. You know, there are people sitting in a room that do the math on it, determine, okay, we can dump a bunch of money in this and get the public, we can sway the public back, but what's more cost effective? Is it to just walk away? Like, you know, and with Mass Effect, I'm sure they did the same thing. It just made more sense financially to dump that game and move on to something completely different.
Well,
You're not getting that group back.
EA also has all the FIFA titles, which is basically just
that's the cash cow.
Big. They're
it's
big,
just,
man.
dude, and they are basically just microtransaction games at this point.
Yeah, the
Loot boxes.
Yep.
So the sports fan doesn't care.
No,
That's
no,
really kind
that's
of what
the
it
thing.
comes to.
Well, the sports
it's
fans
kind
starting
of-
to care. They're just a little bit behind everybody else because Madden is
Right.
heavily criticized right now because all they do every year is release the same game with new. They put no focus on anything else other than the MUT, which is where they
Right.
make all their money. So
Right.
let's not forget that this is probably a huge win for Steam as well. We just talked
Oh
about
yeah.
Epic poaching content
Right.
as exclusivity and the exclusivity rights over on the Epic Store, and how many companies have done that, and how is Steam going to respond? This is a win for them. I wouldn't be surprised if they cut their kickback from EA maybe in half, at least by 25%.
Yeah, I can see them like maybe even using this as a model to change back to more towards Epic's. I mean, I don't know if they would more towards Epic's framework to where they take less money overall. I mean, because having these bigger companies come in is going to really boost Steam. You know,
Oh, you think Steam's going to take less money?
They had to have.
I think that they
No.
could
I
lead
don't
to
think
that.
they do.
No.
With
It's
EA?
It's Valve. No, there's no way. Valve said, "Hey, EA, come over to our platform. We'll take this much money from you when you do this shit, and you can try to get your face back." Okay, let's do it. We got billion.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't give a fuck.
Well,
Yeah, they just want to get their games in more people's hands so they can sell more.
Well, I'm just saying that when Steam comes around, because their fight is with Epic, their battle is with Epic. Steam can come around and say like, we've got EA, Activision comes over, whatever, we got all the new Activision titles, we've got whoever. Maybe Borderlands comes over, and we've got like all the exclusives, or we've got like at least all this big bulk of top tier AAA gaming. Maybe we can fight Epic now. We can tell our developers that, not indie games because you're fucked anyway, but these bigger developers that come over, we'll give you the 70-30, instead of, or we'll give you the 88-12 instead of the 70-30. So you
And I
can
promise you there was a deal worked out because EA had just invested multiple millions of dollars in improving their launch interface, and their gaming platform like Epic and Steam. And whatever was offered, Steam went, you know what? EA went, you know what? We're not going to invest that money anymore. We're going to actually work now with Steam to improve both interfaces and combine together to launch exclusively over those. So the details are being worked out, but I promise you there was a discount offer.
Well, I mean, if you notice, like the Twitter post that EA did was a picture of a steaming coffee cup. It wasn't Steam saying anything. It was EA. They were excited about this.
Right.
I mean, this is their move.
Yep.
King, what you got for us tonight?
Tonight, I want to talk about the new Borderlands Halloween event that just came out. You get to go down the heck hole and visit Captain Hunt.
I'm sorry, the heck hole? I think I've been there before. What's...
It's a hole. So now with the heck hole and the Halloween event, new legendaries dropped. New it's a short kind of campaign story mission. I wouldn't necessarily call it a campaign extension. It's more of just like a side quest.
Yeah.
I think from beginning to end, your first roundabout, going in, getting your 25 hectoplasms, killing Haunt, it probably took 45 minutes or so. It wasn't long.
That, yeah.
And then towards the end, one of the challenges, there's 15 challenges you have to complete to unlock these different skins and player skins and weapon skins. We were doing whole cycles, which would be the 25 plus Haunt. We were doing them like 15 minutes. So
yeah.
It got down to a really short kind of just little side mission. Now, this is the first kind of event that Borderlands has done in terms of any kind of additional content, and there was some kind of backlash in the fact that in Borderlands 2 we had the Headhunter events, and what those were actual DLC content. And it was a whole new area, like a big area. Just take the Halloween event. You could go in, you could farm a new boss. You can go in over and over again. There wasn't a prerequisite to go in and get these little farming things to go back into that spot. So people saw this as kind of a downgrade in the term of that it's a limited time event. It's only going until December. So you only have X amount of time to get these new legendaries. The timing, like the length of the mission was very short. So if Borderlands 3 kind of continues with this kind of seasonal event, I don't think it will catch on as much due to the fact that people really enjoyed those Headhunter packs. They liked going back in whenever they wanted, to the Thanksgiving event with Torg, to the Christmas event with the giant snowman that you'd kill, and the loot drops that came from those. So I'm interested to see in future events that, we did buy a season pass with this. There will be actual DLC coming, where they kind of approach the real DLC and the full-fledged campaign extensions. So, for a small event, kind of like a Destiny, event size thing, like their seasonal stuff, I thought it was pretty good. I had a good time doing it. I farmed all the new legendaries pretty quickly. I had some good RNG with the shotgun, which seems to be the hardest one to get. But
yeah, you did, fucker.
Yeah, I have 2 already. I got a radiation and a corrosive one. And
send me one of those.
Yeah, I'll send one. And so yeah, I'm not disappointed in it, but I'm also looking for a little bit more out of an actual DLC content. What were your guys' thoughts on this little event?
I did, I kind of agree with you, but I'm not as positive about it as you are.
Yeah,
like the Season of the Lost in Destiny is way bigger in content than this. I mean, this is nothing. I mean, this is a 45-minute mission. It's just a waste of time. I mean, I appreciate them doing stuff seasonally to add a little flair to it, and 2 or 3 legendaries are kind of cool to have, but I don't think this game needs that. I think this game needs an infusion of 30. We have 1 billion T guns.
Yeah,
give me 30 new legendaries I can try out and play. It takes you nothing to do that, even as like a spoof event, not a DLC, but just a spoof event for a holiday season. You can do that, and then you can, the thing that they come with, the anointed perk on them, is a terror thing that's only going to be limited to this event. So a lot of stuff that you get that are anointed are going to be worthless in December.
Right.
So I mean, you've had a good time getting these 3 different legendaries, but they're anointed with this stuff. They're going to be worthless to you when December comes around. I think they should have thrown in 30 different weapons, and
right.
Just made it a little bit bigger. I mean, I'm not really on them about how big the content is because it's just a free, nod to Halloween, basically.
Yep.
But they could have done something a little better than that, because it really is just kind of a waste of time to me. I look at it with the cosmetics. To do the 15 challenges takes me about 8-10 hours to do.
Yeah,
probably to get all of it. I don't want to do that for a gun skin. It just doesn't seem worthy of the content.
Weapon skin's pretty sweet.
Well, okay, but what if it wasn't? Like,
that would suck. Right? And then that would be a waste of time.
Yeah, but it's just a weapon skin, so.
But it doesn't suck. Suck.
Oh yeah, but it's a weapon skin though, motherfucker.
Dude, it's a weapon skin, and also they gave us those 4 free fucking Halloween heads that just you get as long as you put the code in. Yeah. I think they made the mistake of not putting those in.
They should have made those grindable parts of that challenge.
They should have either made them like grindable for each individual character, maybe.
Yes.
Or
so
even
encourage
just,
you to do.
You unlock one. You just unlock all 4 of them when you get to like max
universal unlock or something.
See, I actually really like this event because it's just a free little event. Their actual like headhunter type stuff is coming with the Malwan stuff, which is I'm sure you're going to talk about here in a second.
Oh yes.
But that's like the headhunter type DLC where but from what I've been hearing, that's way bigger than the headhunter shit.
Well, see, this is the thing that both of you need to start playing Destiny again, so you understand what free content's like.
Yeah, but free good content's like is not in Destiny ever. So, I'm
just saying, I spent hours on ours.
I'm sure you have because it's got a bunch of junk that you got to wade through. This is just a fun shit to play. Like everyone's played the game, everyone's beat the game at this point.
Yeah.
They just wanted people to come back, play a little bit, and be like, "All right, we're gonna get you geared up." Everyone have fun for like a month. But hey, guess what? We still got that shit coming out in here in November. Game's only been out for what, a month and a half?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
something like that. So I mean, I thought it was pretty cool. I'm still fucking trying to get that goddamn shotgun.
So like Solid said, the new heads. There are 4 new heads that came out for each of the Vault Hunters. This came out for the last week of the 10-year anniversary of Borderlands event. This was the month-long event. We had the boss week and the Iridium week and this and that. This week's special event is like a thank you, and it's those 4 heads. So there's no special event going on this week that were themed like the anointed drops or the boss drops or anything rare spawns. But one thing that did carry over was that the increased anointed drops and the I don't know if you guys noticed, but on Mayhem 3, the negative modifiers that were usually active have been dumbed down quite a bit.
Yes.
So that was also part of this the Mayhem on Twitch week, which was last week. So those increased anointed drops and the reduced Mayhem D modifiers, nerfs, whatever you want to call them, those are staying around past this event. So those are going to be the new norm. You're going to start to see way more anointed drops, which is great for people farming for good legendaries with anointed perks. And then the Mayhem modifiers being less intrusive is nice, because there's times where you can severely get nerfed with the right amount of Mayhem modifiers on there. So I'm glad to see that sticking around. It really kind of, when I think of Borderlands, I think of overpowered great loot. That's the whole thing. You go into get a crazy build and you're taking down these bosses with crazy weapons, and limiting that is not the right move. I think they should promote that really kind of out there kind of damage and everything. So very excited to see that. Like Solid mentioned, there is a new event coming out. It's called Takedown at Malawan's Black Site. So Malawan is the corporation in Borderlands that is like the big corporation, big brother, evil corporation kind of deal. So the Takedown at Malawan's Black Site is a new end game activity. It's coming out at the end of November. I think they said November 21st, if I remember correctly. The prerequisite to get into this event is that you have to complete the main story mission, the main campaign. They highly suggest that you are level 50 and that you're paired up with 3 other level 50s. So this is geared and level. It's a preset level, so it's not going to scale down to your level 49 and your 49 buddies. This is going to be a 4-person level 50 event, and it's going to be that hard. So it's tuned for the 4 level 50 hunters. One of the bosses was shown, Wotan, Wotan, the Invincible.
Wotan Clan?
He's a Wotan Clan. Yeah.
Sounds like a pop culture.
Ain't nothing
to fuck with. Yeah. He is nothing to fuck with. He's a giant 4-legged mech with rocket pods and giant external shields. And they said this is absolutely the end game kind of content for Borderlands in terms of difficulty.
Oh yeah.
As of right now, the only thing we have kind of end game wise are called proving grounds. It's just kind of a 20-ish minute slog through enemies.
Horde
There's
mode.
a couple. Yeah, it's horde mode. And so what they said is Black Site will be ranging anywhere from about 35 to 45 minutes. A good comparison a reviewer made was that you take proving grounds, which are like Destiny strikes, and this Black Site will be like a full Destiny raid. So this is going to be something that you absolutely need to team up with. You absolutely should be communicating with people.
Hell yeah.
And it's going to have mechanics.
Nice.
It's going to have a full.
So not just like Terramorphous, it's going to be like a real event.
It's not a raid as in just go in and kill the boss. This is going to be an event. You go in. There's going to be waves of enemies. There are going to be mechanics that you need to do. Think of it like Division 2's kind of things. They have the raid whatevers. So it's a big event coming in, and it's going to be a much higher ratchet in the difficulty. So because as of right now, I've always, and I think we've all kind of agreed on this, Borderlands 3 has kind of been easy to this point.
It has been.
The bosses haven't been that crazy. The only thing that really has been tough has been the artificial lengthening of boss fights with health gating, which Captain Hans in this event is guilty of. He has three immune phases you have to get through, or 2.
I hate that in gaming.
Which is
Destiny's
a
doing it
frustrating
too.
mechanic. Yeah.
It's terrible.
Destiny
That's a
does it too.
terrible way to lengthen a boss fight. Is you chunk a third of the health away, immune. Nothing happens until you complete this whatever, and then another third immune. And so if you have a group that can one-shot a boss, great, fucking go for it.
Yeah.
But why don't you just give the boss more health or something as opposed to
Make it harder.
something. It's health
Throw
gain
in
is
a
such
mechanic. Use your
dumb
brain.
mechanic. Yeah.
Right.
So
I mean, at least Haunt kind of has a mechanic to it. You have to,
those soul pillar things,
little pillars. Yeah, that's about it. Though.
And that's how you deactivate his immune phase. But that's terrible.
I hope that this black site has a little bit better mechanics. Like,
yep.
At least stand here and shoot this thing.
Right. And I think
something like that.
And I think I'll harken back to Destiny. If you think back to like King's Fall, that raid had great mechanics. It's amazing, and you have to stand here, and you have one person calling out where to stand, and then you all have to pile up on one side and shoot the boss for DPS. It's awesome. I'd love to see something like that in Borderlands, as opposed to just dump DPS on the boss, health gated, dump DPS. That's terrible. So yes, that's Borderlands right now. Very excited for that black site. I think that's going to be the kind of thing that gears more people towards the harder content, and that's the kind of stuff that's going to keep people interested in Borderlands, as opposed to these silly kind of small events.
Yeah.
So.
Just an opinion piece on that. You said that people got to the end of Borderlands pretty quickly, and I think that my opinion of this is that I think that what they missed out on with 2K, that they set Borderlands back for so long and didn't have another game. Pre-sequel wasn't really counting. That they forgot about what Reddit was. Like Destiny embraced Reddit. When we got into like what was the grenade that was so overpowered?
Hex. Oh, pipe bomb.
Yeah, the pipe bomb grenade. They were like farming the boss and getting all the drops, and they had to like nerf that, and they had to change it, and then it still was like available offline that you could still do it. All that. I think that was a huge mistake on their part, and I don't think they planned very well on that. That they weren't really ready for where the internet had gone. Maybe Randy Pitchford's like still doing magic or something in his basement. He's not really watching the internet. But all this stuff is like, as soon as you drop a game like that, somebody's going to find the hole. Somebody's going to find the glitch. Somebody's going to find the meta.
There's going to be broken items.
Yeah. And that's kind of what happened. And I see Borderlands kind of pulling back and like trying to like fix all these problems, and now they're finally getting comfortable. They're dropping the mayhem nerfs back that they put in. With the damage, and give you more annoyance because they were scared that you're going to break the game again. Like, I feel like they're finally moving to a point of being like very balanced. So I hope that the Malawan thing becomes something that's really a lot of fun and not broken.
Right.
I think that they did that with this. Back to your point on the Captain Traunt or Captain Haunt Halloween DLC or whatever Halloween freebie. It looks like you kind of. Everything's sort of geared higher. Like all the legendaries I got from farming and modding and whatever we did, all that stuff I didn't say that loud. All the stuff that we did to do that, I think has been pulled back a little bit. So the gear that's dropping now in that DLC or the freebie is a lot higher than even the legendaries that I got farming.
Oh yeah. No, what Gearbox said was this Malon Black site, this will be dropping high end loot. Like this is going to be great stuff. This is going to have your gear scores in the 600s, which are just very high end stuff. It's usually a few anointed items get up in the 600s, but you're going to see higher gear score items and just better loot. And that's how it should be. We've always said back when this podcast first started, and we were all in Destiny, you should be rewarding high end players with high end loot. That's when Destiny started coming out with pinnacle weapons and everything. Like, absolutely. If you're a god tier PvP player, I'm totally fine with you having Not Forgotten because it's an amazing weapon. But Jesus, you went through quite the event to get to that. So, and you get these raid exotics. Yeah, well, you just did a raid and had good RNG, and good for you that you just got this 1K voice that is dominant. So, I'd love to see them do a higher tier rarity even with these black site events.
That'd be nice.
like the Pearlescence from Borderlands 2 didn't stop at legendaries in Borderlands 2. It went up to Pearlescence, and that was from your raid bosses. That was Pyro Pete, that was Vermi, it was everybody that was kind of a high-end raid boss. They had these super nice weapons drop that matched that kind of tier of content.
Yeah, and back to point, I think they've fixed that going offline part. Right. I mean, that gear only drops a certain thing. So now you have to be online to get this good stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So they fix the problem.
Yeah, if you can incentivize people to play online, you should, because that's how you can have the game balanced the way you want.
Exactly.
With these hot fixes, which are only applicable when you're online. Well, also, if you're online, you can get this tier of weapon to drop. So that would be a great way to get people online.
Yeah, I like it. Robot, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm relatively new to Borderlands. I mean, I dabbled in it. 3 was really kind of my first invest some time in it, and yeah, I was kind of taken back by the nerfs that they did, and then your ability to play offline, because it took the thing that I liked about Borderlands, which was playing with a group and having fun and farming. And I will farm a game like nobody's business. And when you make it where the best loot or my most efficient farm is offline, that became a single player game for me.
Right.
For a short period of time. So it's really good to hear that they've kind of gone a different direction with that. The other part on higher tier gear, I've always thought, I guess I kind of look at it as I would rather it be cosmetics than a weapon that gives somebody an advantage. And I know that's just a matter of personal preference, but if you finish the raid with contest rules on, or if you finish a really high tier activity in Borderlands, in the Division or whatever, I would, you go into a tower or whatever that social space is, and you see that player that's like, holy cow, they've got the
even like the titles
with the glow on it. Yeah, the titles. Yeah, great example. But it doesn't give an advantage in game.
Yeah,
well, the game has no PvP though.
Yeah, right.
But you could get like a title, which I think would be a great idea. Like Pyro Pete Slayer or something above your character as you're going through. Like, so if I matchmake into a proving ground now, everyone knows that I'm a fucking badass because I killed Pyro Pete, and that could be a good thing to have, as an end game kind of reward as opposed to a super overpowered weapon.
Well, it's like Diablo with their rifts, like the greater rifts. You grind those greater rifts, and
you get penance and everything.
Yeah, you get your penance, you get your name badge or whatever with the different borders and different color schemes and stuff like that. Like, people grind that shit out to hoard that over people. So, I mean, I kind of agree with you, Robot. Like, I think, like, specific gear drops would be fun, but, like, obviously, like, that's available to everyone. But like doing something specific in the raid, or completing a raid so many times, like those kind of emblem things are what I want to drop. Like when Destiny 1 said they're carrying over their emblems and stuff over to D2, and like you're gonna be able to access those, I was like, well, then I'm going to get everything. Like, I want those. Those are what I want to carry over. Right. I don't give a fuck about the weapons. I want my emblem. That's
a status symbol.
Yeah, exactly. Status symbol stuff. Yeah.
So I think this is kind of a problem that MMOs and WoW specifically solved. It's two-pronged, right? There's cosmetic, but then there's got to be a sense of character progression. Mm-hmm. You guys are individuals that just so happen to not like the grindy atmosphere of, okay, I got to grind all of these raids, all of these dungeons to get this really overpowered piece of gear. But there is a big chunk of population of gamers that do appreciate that grind, that do appreciate, okay, I put 85 hours into this game this week to have the most overpowered gun in the game, and I want it to be able to one-shot people. And I think it goes back to what we talked about before the game launched. We talked about how are they going to manage the OP-ness of weapons. And I think we all came to the consensus, like, who cares if it's OP? If people are having fun with an OP weapon, they're still playing your game.
Yep.
If you're nerfing the game, where there's people that have worked really hard to get there to accomplish a task of and achieving that weapon, people aren't no longer going to play that game because you nerfed the fun out of it for them. Yeah. So if there's no PvP, and this is just my perspective, if there's no PvP and you're not one-shotting other people, then let them have a gun that one-shots a boss if they've played 800 hours for it. But I'm somebody who's played 15 years of MMOs, so I have a little bit. Every week you grind the hardest people to get an overpowered weapon.
But see, the problem comes up when I want to buy that thing for $15.
Right.
Microtransactions.
Yeah, that's a...
Make it not available for fucking microtransactions.
I will. I'll send you a $15 Amazon card if you mail me that weapon.
Hey man, I'll give you $100 to take over my account and just get the damn thing for 800 hours.
Yeah.
You ready? Robot, what you got for us?
Hey,
what?
Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, you still talking?
Yeah.
All right.
Don't skip me. Fuck. So D&D's cool. And yeah.
What I forgot about this one.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, D's and D's. So two things. First, I want to mention that tomorrow I am doing my first in-person D&D session with a local gaming group.
Oh, nice.
Next 2 weeks, yeah. So it's at a game shop here in my area. It's a Halloween themed event. I'll try and get pictures and everything. And I don't know if I can record, but I'll definitely get pictures.
Just step a GoPro to your forehead.
Yeah, that'll be
Record it all.
inconspicuous. I'm a
It's a magic eye.
Just say the magic words.
Just say, this is my third eye.
Yeah, it's my all-seeing eye. And so I'll get some pictures and let you know, guys, how it went. So look out for that. And next would be the D&D question from last week, which was, do drow, the race drows, do they get disadvantage when exposed to a light spell or any other non-natural form of light? Robot, you were not here last time, so I'd like to get your answer before I give the correct answer as per Jeremy Crawford, who's the rules at D&D.
What was last week's question? Wait, how about last week's
50%
question? Can he get the last week's question? Do you have it still?
I just asked it. It was, do drow get
That was not last week, was it?
It most certainly was.
Oh shit! What was I drunk?
I even watched the video and everything because I forgot what it was.
Yeah.
So,
do you remember what I said last week? Because I have no idea.
I don't know what you said.
It was probably wrong. Everybody but Poop Shizzle and I think
probably Poop got it right.
I'm going with no.
You're saying no, they do not get a disadvantage when
they
exposed to the light spell or anything like that. Okay.
I think Poop and I said we're the only ones that said yes. That they do get disadvantage.
Okay. Well, the correct answer would be no.
Yes.
They do not receive disadvantage when exposed to artificial light, as in a light spell or any other form of, cantrip or anything like that. So,
which I think is wrong, but
yeah,
I guess I don't write the rules, so whatever.
Yeah, nerd.
No, it's not natural light. It's only sunlight. They hide from the sun.
It doesn't matter. He's a fucking drow. His eyes see in infrared.
But if you take a mole who lives underground and shine a freaking flashlight in his face,
a vampire.
We've shot infrared on him. We've shot infrared on him, like, you motherfucker. Shot infrared light on him. Is that the same thing?
Microwave in front of him.
Yeah, yeah.
He sees in like gray.
That's your definition of light, motherfucker. You hush. This is D&D. You don't get to define light.
Like your interpretation, man.
You don't define magic.
I've only read all of the R.A. Salvatore books. I don't think the guy has.
Yeah, okay. Power gamer.
Fucking nerd
lawyer. All right, so Solid's definitely wrong and banned from this question.
You're right.
So the new question.
I don't even want the question. Fuck you.
Lightning bolt. The next question for this week would be: do you get a reaction if you haven't taken your turn in combat yet? So this would be at the beginning of initiative. Mm-hmm. Say the big bad guy goes first because he rolled really well on his dex score and he gets to go first. Now you are, say, fourth in initiative. Big bad guy attacks you. Do you get your reaction before you've even had a turn in combat yet?
Pick somebody.
Sectator.
No, because if I remember, reaction comes like immediately before your turn, right? So, because I think did we not get into a huge argument about this, Adam, in your campaign that we were running last year?
I don't remember.
Where somebody was like a ninja, whatever, and you I seem to remember the answer being no, but I also seem to remember that being DM Adam's answer. So I'm gonna stick with DM Adam answers.
Fuck your homebrew, Adam.
Don't throw me under the bus, dude.
Yeah,
don't throw me under the bus with this.
So I'm gonna say no.
Also, there are no ninjas in my campaign. I don't know what you're smoking, but stop it.
Whatever.
It's affecting your home life.
I remember it. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, next.
Yeah.
Solid.
I don't remember the context, but I remember it.
Yes.
Do they get a reaction on the first round of combat
before they've had their turn in combat?
Or they've had their turn.
He's looking at his phone. Look up here. Look at us. Look at us.
I'm playing with this little fucking rubber dog dude. He's
we'll stop.
Super stretchy. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no.
Okay. Any reasoning behind that, or just no?
He has not acted yet. He has not even gotten a chance to act. Like
it's 2019. Don't assume genders, buddy.
She, as they would put in the fucking book, they say she all the fucking time.
They,
them.
They, them. Robot.
Yeah, I got to go with the same thing. I don't think you've had without a turn, you haven't had an opportunity. So no.
Okay. And Adam, finally?
Oh, rain on my face. Rain on my face, world. I'm going the opposite way. Because I think the initiative means that there's combat going. And that if it's not a sneak attack is different. If it's not a sneak attack, I think that you get your normal reactions on any sort of action against you. If you have a reaction built into your character and someone attacks you, that is an auto response to that attack. Unless it's a sneak attack. And then I'm still kind of foggy on the sneak attack part. But I'm saying...
I mean surprise round. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah. Surprise round. Yeah, but I think that if you've established initiative, there is combat, and the first turn goes to the monster, and it hits you, you do get to use your reaction. Yes.
Excellent.
I think we're fixing a retcon your campaign.
Now,
do whatever you want. I'm still the DM.
What I will say is that some of you are right and some of you are wrong.
I've heard this before. At least 10 times.
Yeah. So next cast, I'll have an answer for you, and looking forward to it. That was a good question, and I appreciate all your answers. That's it, man. Now you can pass along.
Oh, Robot, what's up? Welcome, by the way. Welcome to the cast. Welcome to everybody. OldDirtyRobot is a longtime friend, an avid watcher of metagame, and he's here with us to replace the beloved and now gone Poop Shizzle.
Flushed.
Yeah, I wiped that shit stain off the toilet a while ago.
Oh,
there's a different level to it. All right.
So welcome.
Welcome
to it.
Yeah, super excited. Appreciate the opportunity to talk video games with you guys. I've got two things specifically. I'm a huge Destiny player. I know most of you have completely walked away from the game. We'll welcome you back with open arms when you decide to
There's too much going on now. I can't jump back in. There's like 7 stat blocks on the side. I have no fucking idea what they are.
It's going in the right direction.
Oh my god!
It's kind of becoming everything that I hope Destiny would be. But this week is Festival of the Lost. So speaking of holiday events, I kind of think back to my first experience with MMOs was Phantasy Star Online with in Dreamcast, and I remember that first holiday event. And outside of playing with other players, it was the world is changing. There's stuff that you can get that isn't in the game normally, and I've always loved the holiday event around games, and this one in particular, I'm a huge fan of. So it's a lot like last year. There's some upgrades. It's still the dark infinite forest, but they've made some cosmetic upgrades to it. It's the same mechanic of how many levels or phases can you go into it, and there's a weapon you can earn. It's an auto rifle. It's really nothing special. It's the Braytech Werewolf, a 450, kind of a super slow rate of fire. Machine gun or auto rifle, but it's not really, and I think this is the same thing last year, it's not really that it's a great weapon, but it's a 950 masterwork. So if you are not heavy into Destiny and you haven't gotten a 950, this is a max tier weapon right out of the gate to help boost your light level. And that's the other part of this event that I think is exciting for people. Destiny's kicked off New Light. Hey everyone, come in and play for free, and this event is available to all those New Light players. So there's some basic criteria. You need to be, I think it's like 750 or 770 to get into it. You have to finish the first mission, but then you can dive in and participate in a pretty cool event. And I'm kind of comparing it to the Borderlands event. I see the same thing in Borderlands that Destiny had with some of their events in the beginning. They start slow, they start small, but this is Destiny's like 4th year of this. So this event gets a little bit better each and every time. Lots of good loot. Most of it you have to pay for. Some of it,
I don't think anything will. I don't think anything will ever top Spooky Trials. Remember that solid Spooky Trials?
Oh my
Trials
God. The best Halloween event anyone's ever.
I played my best game ever during Spooky Trials.
Yeah.
The carriest of carries ever.
Oh my
It was
God, dude.
insane.
It was
And
amazing.
and the
good.
tryhards hated it, and that was
Yeah.
the best part.
Yeah, no radar.
No radar.
Yeah.
The
That's
game
great.
would scream at you if you stood still too long. It was amazing.
Dude, it was
Fighter would
like
drop
spooky.
down.
It was like spooky SWAT all over again.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
that's
The
what-
trials carries stopped on that weekend.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of people that hadn't been to the lighthouse got
Yeah.
to go to the lighthouse.
Yeah.
That
It was awesome.
it was, and you sit in the corner with a shotgun and
Yeah.
wake people out.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Can't
So-
proceed on that one.
not as good as Spooky Trials, but there is a PvP game mode. It's called Momentum. If you've played SWAT, you know all about this. I mean, there's some other mechanics to it. Supers are stronger, heavy counters, supers, but it's
still
one shot
control.
headshot.
Ooh.
It's still control. It's a different kind of control.
One shot headshot with anything?
I don't know if it's everything, but like higher power scouts, yes.
So hand cannons.
High power hand cannon, high power scout.
So it's like Rainbow Six Siege, dude.
No radar.
Oh
my God, that's
filthy.
Oh God.
It's so much fun, guys. Come on over. I'll take you through it.
Oh,
I got in last night.
I'd go in there with a
Played
Duke and just crack headshots.
It's awesome.
Man, I played so much SWAT with the Halo series.
Mm-hmm.
It's my favorite. I was ranked pretty high. It was my favorite.
Oh,
game
too bad you guys don't play
of the
Destiny. Oh, so sad.
Oh.
Play Halo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You and your party of two.
Yeah, I know, right?
You can trade out who's going to be the bad guy that round.
Maybe I can get Don. Play some Halo with me.
Sorry, Robot. Go ahead.
SWAT was always my favorite game mode in Halo. It is super exciting to get something like this in Destiny. I got to play a few matches last night, and it's about know your angles and get headshots. And
You gotta know the
the-
maps.
Yeah, if you know the maps, you stay out of the common lanes. You know where people are gonna come around a corner. And I sat in the back with Jade Rabbit, and
I was gonna say Jade Rabbit must be so popular in this.
yeah. So Randy's throwing knife is the pinnacle weapon. They don't have pinnacle weapons anymore. But if you want Randy's throwing knife, it's a good time to get in and kind of get that taken care of, because you can get some pretty crazy streaks going, and that'll help with the progress on that. But yeah, hey, they're getting good at these. The cosmetics are really nice looking. Go get your kitty cat ghost or your bat
Kitty cat
ghost.
ghost.
I got my broom sparrow, my pumpkin ghost.
You get to keep it this time.
I know.
No way.
They took it away last time.
Oh yeah, they did.
I know.
And I swear it's faster. I
It is
I
faster.
swear
It
that
sounds
sparrow
like
is fast.
super cool too. It's
Yeah.
like as you're
I
like
saw a screenshot
flying.
of the ship or whatever. And it's got like the bones all over it.
Yeah, we have that.
That
Oh, fuck you, Destiny.
That's
I know,
it.
right?
So everything is like skeletons painted on armor, and
Oh, cool.
which, going back to some of the Halo games, there's nothing other than the skull painted on it, and now you've got
Yes.
one.
What was the Hayabusa head they had? That was so sick. The flaming, or what was it?
The
There's a
flaming
flaming skull.
The
Yeah,
flaming
that was-
skull.
Then there's a Hayabusa head too. That looked like a ninja head. That was
Mhm.
super cool.
Dude,
Yeah.
yeah, Halo. Oof.
So yeah, mass candy. It's the whole. You don't need to go into that. It's the same here, but they do good events. So
Yeah.
this thing will be here through November the 19th. So you've got a couple weeks to grind it out.
It only came out yesterday, and I'm pretty much done with it. I've got my
Oh damn.
got my weapon, and
Well, you're done with that,
yeah,
but you're not done with the dungeon, and that's
No.
the other part. So Destiny has dropped a dungeon, the pit of Heresy, or what people are calling it, the pit of Hershey's. It is it's really cool. It's not as big as the first dungeon, but it's got cool jumping puzzles, an interesting boss, nice mechanic. It's it's not bad. You could burn the boss down theoretically, so it's not
Health gated.
Health gated, but there are cool mechanics to it. 3 different people you have to kill. You have to kill each of them in a different way. They're introducing some mechanics with the swords. Really, really cool event. I can tell there's a lot of replay value in it. There's some good loot in it. Not a whole lot, but some. I'm a huge fan of the dungeons. I think that's a great move on Bungie's part.
Yeah.
And now you can actually say dungeons now because there's 2 of them.
Right.
There should be like 4 or 5 of them at this point.
They're getting there.
But
They're getting there. They just started. It's only been out same as Borderlands. It's only been out like
2 years they've been doing dungeons.
No, the new one.
Damn,
The
man,
Shadow
they're a solo studio now. Leave them alone.
Yeah.
It's new. It's reset.
14 months, 2 dungeons. Yeah.
Daddy's wallet Activision isn't there, so settle down.
Yeah.
Hey, we want happy, healthy game developers, so just cut them some slack.
700 people. Anyways,
So I've been playing on that dirty robot, and the only thing I can complain about is that the loot. They need a little bit better loot drops.
I won't argue that. There is some stuff in there. There's some cosmetically different weapons.
Yeah.
In there, the pulse rifle that you normally get from Erismorn, you can get out of that, or that you would think would come from Erismorn doesn't. It comes from the dungeon.
Yeah.
And then there's an exotic that's kind of tied to that, and that's a Xenophage, which is a really interesting. Yeah. Super slow rate of fire, high impact explosive rounds, that kind of good stuff. PvP, it does not do crits. It hits for 150 no matter where you hit. So
Shit.
Takes 2 shots to kill. You
cannot just lens all over again.
Yeah, people are saying it's like a.
How many shots do you get per brick of heavy?
3.
Who's intrigued now?
So you're not holding the trigger down. It's a tap fire, like scout rifle, pretty much.
2-shot kill. TTK is like half a second. It's not great. It's not off the charts. There are better weapons, but people are kind of up in arms about 3 rounds. Are you kidding me? That's 1 kill, maybe
good.
2. Yeah.
Right. You can get a grenade launcher and get like 7 kills out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
So
True.
that's the controversy with that weapon, that people feel like, maybe you should get 6 or something.
So what would 3 get you? Like a super kill would be 3 shots.
2 shots should kill it, take down some supers, not all supers. Now that they've
like a Titan, full armor Titan.
Yeah,
probably need 3 shots.
Yeah, maybe 3 shots for a bubble.
Okay.
That would just pop the bubble. Yeah. So not bad. Cool looking weapon. I saw the mock-up of it at Guardian Con. It's got like a case that opens up and you can see a little bug inside, and that's what's powering the gun. So interesting lore. Yeah, it's kind of cool. But
is that the one they were showing off this last Guardian Con?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I saw some photos of it. And they're like, this is an upcoming gun or whatever. That's the gun they were talking about. Okay, sweet.
So when you put all this together, it all kind of hits at once, and Destiny's doing this thing where they're spacing out the content. And I think that's the right approach, because if you play it right now, we've hit that like, well, I'm done, and what else is there? Yeah. And they're starting to kind of gate this stuff. So that is enough Destiny talk. So Microsoft had a I wouldn't call it a big announcement, and frankly, we've seen this coming. Some of the first stories that I saw about this go back to 2018, but they are going to try the phone model with consoles, and somebody had to do this. I mean, come on,
trade it. Well, GameStop's been doing it for a while, but they only give you 12 cents for your Xbox One X. So,
so I kind of thought about like, who is this for? And I'll go into the details, but I think there's 2 people that this is geared at. And one, you have to keep in mind, we're at the end of a console cycle. So it's going to be hard to sell consoles this Christmas when one is right around the corner. So you have potentially Microsoft is making a lot of positive moves. And for people that want to come over from PS4, that's a big investment.
Yeah.
So you're talking about $300, $400, $500, $600 to get a console and build up a library. And on this one, you can get the X for $31 a month, and that comes with 2 years of Game Pass Ultimate.
Ooh.
So right out of the gate, $30 a month, you have 100 plus games. You're getting all the new stuff that Microsoft put. Not a bad deal, really. And with the Xbox One X, they're putting a program in that after 12 months, they haven't announced what it'll be, but it sounds like they'll give you significant credit for the console that you have towards Scarlet. So
nice.
And the trade-in typically when new consoles roll around are pretty good, but it kind of breaks down as this: $31 for an X. All of these come with two years of Game Pass. $23 for an S, and $20 for an S digital. So the other person that I thought about is, you've got little Timmy that wants a console or wants a video game system, and they send mom Karen, and Karen goes to start looking at this stuff and
respect the drip, Karen.
Right. And honestly, think about it. For a parent, if I can get out at Christmas for $30, $60, $90 over the next 3 months, and my kid has a console and a whole library of games, it's not a bad deal.
Yeah.
Really.
You're dad of the year.
You're dad of the year. Absolutely.
Don't you want to be dad of the year, folks? Mom of the year?
Don't you, Karen?
Buy this shit.
Come on, Karen.
Well,
Steve.
Yeah.
Andrew. I'm going to get you one of these names, and you're going to feel it right here. You're going to buy your kid.
Chad.
No Chads with kids.
Chads don't have kids.
No. Chads make kids, but they don't have kids.
I was saying they all make kids.
Sorry, Chads out there, but it's true.
I think you got to give Microsoft a hand on this.
I'll give him 2 hands.
Chad sure does.
A handy. Chad's excited.
Yeah.
It's an interesting model, and I think they're introducing it at the right time.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. It's an amazing idea. Now my only question is this: like you gotta do a credit check, just like a phone kind of deal.
I'm assuming so. They haven't really gotten.
They can't not.
The article that I read said that they have to go through Microsoft's own credit check system,
right? Like a firm credit kind of thing, like Cyberpower PC does and all that stuff,
like a Best Buy credit card, shit like that. Yeah.
Because you can't just be here's $30. Give me a $500 console and then never see the person.
They're not Oprah. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's actually so we had a Microsoft store that's close to us. This has been out for a little while. My brother just got this taken care of. His Xbox went kaput and wanted a new one. So it's actually set up like a cash advance place, like a payday advance place. Almost everybody gets approved. Some people need a deposit down, but they just take your bank account information, and every other Friday or once a month they just withdraw it. And I'm in the banking industry. It's really hard to stop those ACH transactions because most companies mix it up. So they'll do like Microsoft *321, and then you'll put a stop payment on it, but the next month they'll do Microsoft 225. So it's really hard to stop those. So
they're getting their money.
That's how they're doing it.
I was wondering what those numbers were for.
That's what it's for.
Oh, okay, smart. Every single number.
What a great way to springboard into the next console. With to take it and run into the Scarlet, so you don't have to, and then go back into the payment plan. I mean, it's just the way they do cars with leases. I mean, it's in 3 years you're going to need a new car. So
the cell phone is a great example. Like everyone's got the newest iPhone, and they go in and trade their next iPhone for the 11, and then you got to add your $30 a month to your bill. Brilliant.
And you know what? They just showed that PlayStation 4 is now the second best selling console of all time, and I think this is going to put a kink in that.
What's number one?
No, I don't know if it'll put a
really
the Wii.
Yeah, I think the Wii is.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Not like the Game Boy original.
No.
No. You know what I think though? I think they changed the numbers the way they determine things because I think
Right.
like
How many fucking Game Boy Colors were out there in the
come
world?
on, right?
You gotta remember though, Nintendo was cutting deals with old people homes to put them in to prevent Alzheimer's. So they were literally almost. I think it was doing like 70% of old people homes across the country had a Wii.
I like the fact you call
Wii
them
in
old
it.
people homes.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the accurate term, but
Senile senior home.
geriatric.
I've had several
Yeah, old people
in
works.
there. So
A genocidal geriatric home.
But yeah, I think this will put a big dent in the PlayStation push for the next generation.
I think PlayStation or Sony itself is going to be the stopper for their push because they don't have the money to compete with Microsoft. So
Well, I mean, they've
They-
undercut. I mean, the reason they've gotten so far in this business is that they've undercut the price by so much. You know, they've made themselves.
absolutely.
I mean, they've got exclusives too. Not to knock on Sony, they have really good exclusives.
A couple.
Yeah, well,
They have
Last
like
of Us.
3 or 4.
No, they've got a lot. You know,
Not worth buying a console.
they
Not
have
one game that is worth buying a
arguably,
console.
arguably, Spider-Man, Horizon, Persona.
Oh,
there are
wait,
tons of games.
Wait, hold on. I don't see a PS4 over here. They must not be that good.
Okay, then
Or
you're on a Mac right now, aren't you?
No, I'm on a PC.
I think
Not
you
good.
made a good point about cost, and
Yes.
this really is targeted at that cost piece. So again, think back to mom at the store. The Xbox is, let's say, Scarlet is $600,
Yeah.
$650. Suddenly, that high-powered console is a lot more palatable if you can break it up into payments for
Right.
people. And even in price plans like this for the current generation they're doing, I think they're doing it the right time at the end of the life cycle to kind of to pick up sales. But it's do I want to say my PlayStation breaks? Do I want to go all in? Do I want to go $400 in, or can I walk out of there and start playing games? I think a lot of people are short-sighted, frankly.
Yeah.
And honestly, you should just buy the console. But it's an easy transaction. I walk out of Best Buy or Microsoft mails me a console for really a minimal amount. And yeah, we're gonna have I think you'll have lots of situations where people make 5 or 6 payments and get in trouble.
Stiff.
But it's no different than a cell phone or really anything else.
Yeah.
Well, there's always that cancellation fee that they're gonna have. Something
Late
like that, where
fees
they're
and all that shit.
late fees, which they can just collect from your paycheck by garnishing your wages by sending it to collection agency
Right.
that they have already made their money on now.
the
They
thing,
don't care. They're gonna get their money no matter what.
Right.
the thing
Right.
to think about this as well too, though, is like we've been talking about this on the podcast for a while. Companies aren't making money on this stuff, just like cell phone companies don't make money on a cell phone.
Yeah.
This iPhone I have in front of me costs Apple $1,800 to produce.
Yeah.
You buy it for $695 if you pay retail, and even if you pay the monthly installments of $25 a month, you're still not hitting $1,800. So how do they make money? Protection plans, accessories, services. I mean, they sell it to Verizon, who charges you $300 a month
Software.
for a cell phone bill. Over the course of a 2-year contract, they're making $15,000 on a $1,800 phone. So
Yeah.
that's how they're making money. Same thing with Microsoft. When the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 came out, every unit sold the company lost $200.
Right.
Yeah.
So even now, every unit that the Microsoft Xbox One, Xbox One X, whatever it is now, is selling, they're losing $175 on.
Oh, the next generation consoles these companies are going to be taking huge losses.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that technology is going to go down in price enough to warrant the actual sale of these things for $600, which is a lot of money to pay for a console, but they're probably going to be taking $300-400 hits. Almost
Yeah.
every single time.
Well, that was my.
We're looking at $700 console.
Mhm.
When you
Yeah,
look at
easily.
the specs,
Well, that was my poke in saying that PlayStation is the second greatest selling console of all time, and how does the Xbox battle that? You battle it by offering a foot into the next console, so that they can get more numbers by having a payment plan. Get people on now, and then roll them into Scarlet.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you're fighting
People
PlayStation charging a full price. Nah.
Yeah, exactly. And Sony doesn't have the capital to do this kind of thing. There's no fucking way that they are going to be able to do this. They don't have stores. They don't have. I mean, they're not going to be able to do
Stick to TVs.
it. And refrigerators.
And memory sticks.
Yeah.
The other part of this is there will be a secondary market for refurbished consoles. So when they start to do these trade-ins and they go back to Microsoft, this console that they've been collecting payments on, they can then turn around and sell as a refurbished unit, and maybe even do a second tier of lease.
It's a car
certified
dealership.
pre-owned.
Yeah, certified pre-owned car dealership stuff, man. Let's do it. What else you got for us, Old Dirty?
That is it. That is a lot, and that is it.
It's awesome, though. Fantastic. I love it. Solid. What you got?
All right, so I was going to do some Obsidian trivia for you guys, because I'm going to talk about The Outer Worlds tonight. Playing a lot of it recently since it came out. But I'm not going to do the Obsidian trivia because they have not been a company for that long and have not made that many games. I don't really give a fuck. So, the only thing that I found interesting was to a couple developer interviews for Outer Worlds before it came out. Most of the guys working on this game were original Black Isle employees, which made Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter Nights, stuff like that. So these are those guys. But basically, I just I don't want to do a game review, just kind of impressions. I know Robot's been playing it as well. I don't know about I know, Adam, you have not touched it yet.
I have not touched it yet.
You're planning to do it for your Extra Life game?
This Saturday, yes.
This Saturday. Tune into that, everyone. But, yeah. So, Outer Worlds is a first-person RPG in the style of Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Deus Ex. And I think the upcoming Cyberpunk is also going to be a first-person RPG as well. But, I mean, it's very cut and dry, very much Fallout. But the thing that I think that distinguishes this game to be much different than Fallout is that it's much more compact and it's not open world. It's open-ish world, but more in the sense of being open world like Mass Effect is. You can go to a place and you can pretty much go wherever you want. So that's on the map. But it's not going to be this huge sprawling map that takes you 3 hours to travel across, like in Fallout or in Skyrim or something, which I actually really enjoy. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I actually do, but I think that the open world games, there is a place and a time for them, and too many have come out and saturated the market. I think they pulled the right move in making this much more compact. So just for instance, you get down on the planet, and you go down into where your objective is, right? And you're going to your waypoint. And on the way, you still get those side quests on the planet. You still get that random person you pass by that's laying on the ground without pants on. You're like, what are you doing? And they're just like, oh, I'm crazy. I huffed a bunch of space mushrooms. Can you help me find my house? Something weird like that. And you're like, okay, dude. And you end up going on this crazy side adventure and completely forget what the main quest is. But that's all in this tiny, compact, like not even tiny, just this little area of a map, and maybe they want you to bring them to another planet, in which there is planet hopping in the game, which is essentially just transferring areas. But there's 15 of them, and they're all curated areas that are made specifically to do specific things, which I think is it's fantastic. The fast travel system works really good as well. I mean, you pretty much unlock fast travel areas for everyone, including the inside of your ship, which is the best fast travel area, because you have to go to your ship every time to go to an area, which, whatever, I guess. But I think that's where it really excels compared to the other super open world games. Not everything is collectible. You can't just pick up everything and throw everything like you can in Fallout or Elder Scrolls. There's a small amount of things that you can pick up that are junk, but you use those to get credits and to get money and stuff, which I feel like really difficult to get for some reason. I don't know if I'm just dumb or whatever, but I just feel like money is an issue. But then there's the excellent RPG system that this game has, which is all numbers based. They do have perks and stuff, but everything has a number and an associated value to it, to which you can measure and make these crazy builds. Like, I've been listening to people that have been doing like some crazy high intelligence, I'm just going to talk my way, no violence, no killing anyone. I'm just going to talk my way through the entire game, in which you can do.
That's awesome.
You don't have to fire a single bullet, swing a fucking sword once, nothing.
Okay, Fallout 4.
I mean, it's like I said, it's like Fallout 4 in that sense where you can do that, but I feel like this game does it so much better because everything's so reactive to your character, and it's not like you don't feel like your character's set in the world to play it. You feel like everything's kind of molding around you. Whereas in Fallout, it felt very stiff still.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which those games usually do because they're a big world that you're inserted into and you have to figure out, you know, you have to make your own tunnel. Whereas this game kind of was just forming around me constantly. But like the Robot, you said you were doing some just kill everybody run.
Yeah. I'm doing a kill everybody. I kill everybody I meet.
Murder hobos.
I am. Yeah. I don't want to talk. My son's playing at the same time, and he's speccing into stealth and two-handed melee weapons and companions. So he sneaks up behind him and hits him in the head, and the companions kill the rest of them. And that's his.
That's cool.
And this game is so deep. It is narrow but deep, as opposed to a game like Fallout 4 that is really wide and shallow. The characters in this are so rich and so well written that I really haven't come across anybody yet that I just keep progressing through the speech tree because I want to know more about the characters that are in the game.
Fast passing it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every single character.
Microsoft's got a hit. This is high quality intellectual property. They can take this thing, dump money into it. It's going to be something special. And Bethesda, Obsidian just ate your lunch, and is going to take your loyal fans.
Well, and it's funny too because like I think that Bethesda's and Obsidian's games can really operate on the same, like be played by the same people. Like I'm still going to want to play the next Fallout, the next Elder Scrolls because it's Bethesda and I've been playing those games. But this game is only like 30, 40 hours long, if even. That's like doing mostly everything involving like the main story and side quests. Like it's not meant to be this game that takes forever to play, and you're not supposed to play it forever. You're supposed to play it multiple times, and there's like multiple different difficulty settings that you have to unlock by beating the game first, and then you can play. What was Robot? I don't know if you remember what the last difficulty was called. It was called something crazy. I couldn't.
Yeah. The general recommendation is that you play it on hard. Like if you want a challenge, play it on hard. Normal is kind of, hey, I want to try a bunch of weird stuff and do the story. The developers were really clear from the beginning that this was not going to be a huge game. And it was published by Private Label, which is kind of a small indie development team. This is before Microsoft picked it up. They didn't have a lot of money to dump into this, but they felt like they had a pretty good property, and hence why they went with kind of a smaller game. They've since come out and said they are definitely doing a 2. They don't want to go open world, but they feel like they can, turn this 30-hour game into a 100-hour game with Microsoft money, basically.
Yeah, which I'm very excited to see. I really hope that they something like a Far Harbor DLC down the line, or like a Nuka World DLC. Just a little bit more in this game to piecemeal me into the next whatever they're doing. Like a 2 or something. It's Adam. You're gonna play this game on Saturday. Fuck the rest of the stream. I'm playing this shit.
Right.
As soon as you get
good, huh?
Dude, as soon as you know, it's just as I know you specifically. As soon as you get to the character dialogue options and you start saying, "Oh, yeah. I can really
do this?
Fuck with this. Oh God, wait, I can say this instead of oh shit." And like, it's so funny because there's so many times I'll be talking to a character, I'll be like, "Man, I really wish I would say this next," and there it is. It pops right up. You're like, "That's pretty fucking spot on." Like I was thinking, what was I? I was talking to this lady, you have to help her with her power issue, right? I don't want to give it away, but you're helping her with a power issue, and she says something like, "Man, you're just what was it? She's like, you're robbing from the rich and giving to the poor, and then robbing the poor at the same time." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Robin Hood," and it said it right there, like, "Yeah, like Robin Hood, bitch." Like I'm getting it, and like oh man, it's so great. There's so many different. And there's like Robot was saying, there's so many different dialogue options that you want to continue going.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, you're not spamming the dialogue button just to get through it to go to the next thing. I haven't played it this way yet, but if you spec really low and do intelligence, it kind of puts you in dumbass mode. Yep. So your dialogue options are matched to your intelligence level. So you're
clicking your fingers and slapping your head.
You're just like bumbling your way through the world. And the developer talked about this. They tried to break the game, so they've gone through every conceivable tree path, killing NPCs, and they can't break it. But it's not one of those games where all options end up in the same place. Okay, like different it's kind of cliche, but your choices have meaning. Every game kind of says that, and very few actually deliver on that.
This is very much that game.
Yeah,
I remember I was listening to the game.
It just sounds like a Telltale game.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of like it's just way like
one of the good ones.
Yeah, one of the good ones.
One of the funny stories this week. One of the news stories this week was that 78% of all Outer Worlds sales were in the UK were by PlayStation. Physical copies, 78% of them were PlayStation, but Xbox owns the studio, right? Microsoft owns the studio, and they're giving it free away with the Game Pass. So. A digital copy, but that's kind of fun. What else you got?
One of the developers was saying that when in ways of breaking the game, he's beaten the game 49 times and cannot break the game. He says, like, yeah, there's bugs and stuff that can break the game. That happens because you're stand over here in the corner, turn, and then shoot, and then you fall through the floor. Like, that shit happens. Like, but this game does not have that. But he can't break the game. Gameplay wise, he has not been able to. Nice. This game doesn't have. I have encountered 0 bugs, no crashes. I don't know about you, Robot, but
it's a pretty game. Yeah,
this game, unlike Fallout or Elder Scrolls, which I've played multiple times and crashed and fucking glitches and bugs galore, have not found a single one yet.
Well, you and I watched it on the E3 from last year with our commentary that we did on that, and it was one of the bigger ones that we were really excited about. So. Yeah, I'm glad it's come to fruition and actually looks and delivers.
Yep. But that's all I got for you. All I can say is it's on Xbox Game Pass. It costs you like $1 to join Xbox Game Pass and try this fucking game out for a month. It's great. Otherwise, it's out on everything.
Awesome. Value prop on Game Pass is getting better.
Oh yeah,
dude, it gets better.
It's hard not to sign up for that.
Every week it gets better because they keep adding games to it. It's insane.
Mm-hmm. And Microsoft's putting more releases out too, which is nice. Gears 5, you got all the Forza stuff coming. It's really, really good stuff. Sectator, big group hug.
Big group hug.
It's our last night with Sectator. Everybody that's been joining us for the cast. He's moving on. Doing
last one.
Yeah, doing his thing. And but he's joining us here tonight for his last expose. What do you have for us?
Well, gonna go with a bang. Twitch is dying and Mixer's on the rise.
What?
Hey, there's some clickbait.
What?
There's some clickbait for you. No. So if you guys haven't heard, Shroud is now on Mixer exclusively. Pretty big announcement. This time we actually have numbers. So there was a popular, I think League of Legends player Yasuo, I think his name was talking about
Yasuo. Yep.
Yasuo. So he's competed in battle royale tournaments. He plays League of Legends. He's basically a variety streamer at the core. And he let slip that like the industry, not let slip. He had a ton of viewers. I think he did it on purpose. But he let slip that the industry average for something like that is about 6 to 10 million a year. So he's under the impression, based on his sources, that Shroud is actually making between 6 to 10 million a year on a 2-year contract to move over to Mixer. So when you're talking about what did Ninja get compared to what did Shroud did, probably in the same area. I personally would estimate Shroud probably more at the 8 million, Ninja more at the 10 million would be my guess. And they're both probably on 2-year contracts just because that's kind of the industry average right now. So big money, life-changing money. for both those individuals. And we kind of got into a Twitter debate with a couple people on this who were like, they're sellouts, blah, blah, blah. I was like, if somebody came to you and said, I'll give you $20 million to stream on this platform for 2 years, I would lose respect for you for saying no. It's crazy. It's these guys know that they're not going to be streaming forever. So good time for them to jump on it. A lot of different reactions. Dr. Disrespect went on a bit of a tangent, which was kind of funny to watch. Basically, let slip again that Mixer approached him first a couple of years ago to bring him over to Twitch, or bring him from Twitch to Mixer. He said, I laughed in their face. I think it was a character. I think he was putting on a show. Not sure how true that is. And then Dr. Lupo, one of the most humble streamers out there, indicated that he actually would say no. And the reason he would say no to a Mixer deal is because he raises so much money in partnership with Twitch for charities that Mixer would have to find a way to accommodate the hundreds of millions of dollars that they raise for charity every year. So two very, very different reactions. But kind of gives you a little bit of an idea. Mixer's here to they're here to play, right? And kind of the mentality is was Ninja not enough? Was Shroud not enough? Ninja was enough. So some numbers were published by Digital Trends from Q2 to Q3, which is about the timetable that Ninja went over there. The total gaming hours streamed on Mixer went up by 188%. Keep that number in mind. I'm going to circle back to that in a second.
What does that mean? Numbers streamed, hours streamed. What does that mean?
So
other people streaming?
People streaming on their platform almost doubled from Q2 to Q3.
So more people got inspired by Ninja streaming, so they went stream themselves.
Which, if you guys were on Twitter,
so they moved over.
People that were like, "Oh, I've been on Twitch for 5 years. I stream once a month, and I'm not growing." They're all talking about they all moved to Mixer. It's going to be the same thing.
They'll still stream once a month. Yeah,
they'll still stream once a month and not grow. Mixer's total hours watched increase by 86.8 million. So substantial increase there. Keep in mind this was just with Ninja, and it does suggest that Ninja's influence have encouraged others to live stream and absorb that content. It also impacted Twitch's numbers. So Twitch's numbers dropped by about 2.3 million overall from Q2 to Q3. So a very small impact, nothing huge. And then the other thing the other thing I want to talk through is there's about 11% decrease in total hours watched on Mixer. So more people are watching, but they're watching for at least amount of time, basically, is what it's getting at. And that was just with Ninja hopping over there. So do you guys think Shroud's going to help that even more? Do you guys think that...
So before you get into that, what's your opinion on that? Those numbers. So what do you think those numbers mean? So people moved over to Mixer. I got that because Ninja did. And then they stream more, but there's not as much watching, and Twitch wasn't really affected as much by the 2.3 million. Like there wasn't enough people that really actually left or stopped watching Twitch. Do you think these people are watching Ninja because they moved over? Or do you think that other people are watching?
So 80,000 people used to average Ninja streams on Twitch.
Yeah.
He's averaging about 20,000 on Mixer.
Oof.
First day he streamed, he was at 110,000.
Yeah.
So the hype was, oh, what's he going to do on Mixer? I think that's starting to die down a little bit, but he is still the biggest streamer on Mixer.
Well, that doesn't mean much, though, right?
Yeah. Same thing with Shroud. Shroud's first stream on Mixer, I think he peaked at 95,000 viewers.
Okay.
He's only streamed twice, I think. But he's still averaging about 25,000. So I think what it means is you're seeing an influx of people watching, exploring Mixer more, seeing what it's like, clicking on games. Shit. Going into like Destiny and saying there's absolutely no community on Mixer for Destiny, saying there's absolutely no community for World of Warcraft, which are 2 of the top 10 games streamed right now on Twitch, and then going back to Twitch. So I do think that they need to figure out a way of hooking these people in. I think the other thing that's kind of telling here is from Q2 to Q3, Xbox also started auto-playing Mixer streams on their dashboard.
Yes.
So I think that there are more people streaming, but I don't think there's necessarily as many people absorbing that content. I think that they're trying to please their shareholders before they say, give us a bunch more money for 2020 so we can poach more people. But I think that's an inflated number that they're doing intentional for the shareholders.
So you and I both streamed on Mixer for a while. Have you seen any difference in the interface, mobile or otherwise? Have you seen difference in the chat user interaction that's led you to believe that Mixer has gotten to be a better place?
No, because when I moved over to Mixer, Twitch was far behind and stuff, like the real-time chat where somebody posted it and within half a second you see it. They were behind in some of the map integration, stuff like that. But over the last couple of months, they've actually caught up. So now I think they're in a very similar place with Mixer, but I think Mixer is programmed in a way where it's more for mobile devices. Even the way that you do panels and crap like that, it's really weird. You have to upload a file to an Imgur and then download the link right in, so it's a lot harder to customize. So I think they got a little bit more work to do. I think these are 2 huge steps, and now Gothalion announced that he's moving over as well. That is not sponsored. He was not paid to do that. I did some digging that he did not get paid to do that. That was just hey. And the way you can tell that is Mixer advertises Shroud and Ninja on their bar as soon as you go to Mixer.com. Gothalion's not there. They're also offering free subscriptions to Ninja and Shroud for the first 3 months they're over there. Gothalion's not there. They also didn't even tweet that he's going over to Mixer. They just retweeted his announcement, whereas they did a huge video promo for the other 2. So
because PSA, he's a parasite.
He's a parasite. So he's riding the hype train. Ultimately, Mixer's making good moves. Shroud and Ninja, don't blame them at all. They just got bank to make these decisions.
Yeah.
26, 28, 32 years old, just got paid $20 million to play a video game. So they're gonna catch up to their losses, but the community is just not the same on Mixer. They're not as supportive. I went from 0 to 300 followers on Mixer, but I was only averaging 2 viewers a stream. Whereas on Twitch, I have 200 followers and I'm averaging 7 to 10 viewers a stream. So it's much different.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's all I got. Twitch is dying.
Twitch is dying?
Twitch is dying.
That's your final closing?
Didn't mention King Gothalion going over either.
I actually did.
You did?
I was asleep during that part.
Yeah. That's why I said PSA, he's a parasite. That was all about King Gothalion. Yeah,
I was asleep. My brain was off.
Right.
100% did.
Well, welcome to Metagame, Kingdawes.
Yeah,
Hey guys.
They did have King Gothalion's face on the dashboard Xbox today.
Mm.
His face was on there saying, "Hey, welcome to Mixer at King Gothalion," and that was it.
I can't tell if they're
Adam, that's your buddy, man. That's your buddy.
I can't stand him. I'm so glad he's gone. I don't have to deal with him anymore.
He definitely. I think he's just mooching. I don't think there was a
Absolutely.
deal struck there. But it is interesting to see who else they paid they offered contracts to. Apparently, they did it through email. So like Asmongold, who's a big WoW streamer, he's like now I think officially the biggest streamer on Twitch.
He's great.
He's like, hey, so apparently Mixer emailed me a couple months ago, and I never checked my emails, so I could have just missed out on $20 million. It was just kind of funny that he was playing into it a little bit. So.
Yeah, well, that's what he does. Sectator's been fantastic, man. I've enjoyed your time here at Metagame. Been a big part of this this movement. SpawnCamCouncil couldn't have done it without you, and it's sad to see you go. Tell me, where can we find you from here out?
Yes, I just started this week doing my 2-minute industry uploads. So 3 times a week, you'll get 2-minute quick dives. I got some really positive feedback on those. So I'll continue to put those out on Twitter. Everything Sectator Gaming, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. And then I'll be streaming again as of next Wednesday. So
Fantastic.
I'll be back with Grandstone.
Fantastic.
Nice,
OldDirtyRobot, welcome. Love having you. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter, OldDirtyRobot. I guarantee I will drop a shit post or shit tweet a week, and try to get banned from someone.
So
I
those
like
are
his motives.
those that don't know, OldDirtyRobot has a side hustle of just like trying to get banned from popular streamers
my God.
or Twitter
Poor
people.
bro, man.
Yeah. Oh,
I was so close. So close.
So does banning you make them popular, or do you just go and target popular? Because you can come, I'll ban you if that's going to make me popular.
no, I think that his points are hard hitting. Like they're legitimate, real points.
It's not just trolling shit.
Yeah. I like. Yeah, I think there's an art to getting under someone's skin and doing it in a way that it's not mean or derogatory, but it pushes a button.
Pointing out you're a shitbag. Here's the reason why you're a shitbag. And
The Broman one is still my favorite. It's
great.
Well, it's like so
fucking thing
somebody
ever.
was it Broman? Somebody said like PC gaming is much harder than console, and you're like, well, aren't you the one that used the keyboard and mouse on Xbox?
That's Lupo, and I almost
Lupo.
dropped that. So yeah, to this day, I reply to his tweets like, "Hey, aren't you the Zim guy?"
Which is awesome. All right, Solid
You're
Scorpion
gonna say
Z.
like the best streamer though. Like Dr. Lupo's the best dude.
He's a super good guy. Yeah, absolutely.
But he still did it.
But he's still the Zim guy. Yeah.
Still do.
Solid, where can we find you?
Funny.
You can find me everywhere at SolidScorpionZ. Hit me up on that Twitter for fresh memes.
Kingdawes, what's up?
You can find me drooling on my pillow in about fucking 3 seconds. But other than that, you can find me everywhere at Kingdawes1.
It has been a very long cast, guys. We got a lot of information to cover. We got some, got some new blood and some old blood going away. Great job, everyone. I appreciate you all. Thank you for watching, everyone that stopped by and listening on the podcast, which is coming up tomorrow. That concludes our cast. Check us out in 2 weeks for our next episode of Metagame. Until then, remember that blackmail is such an ugly word. I prefer... Sorry. Let's try that again. It's late. Until then, remember that blackmail is such an ugly word. I prefer extortion. The X makes it sound cool. Good night, everyone.